I'm Nick Snow with Oil and Gas Journal in Washington, D.C. Before the past year recedes further, it's time for this column's annual awards for dubious achievements and amusing moments in government, the 2011 Watchies. The climate was right for impressive contenders as a Republican-controlled U.S. House squared off against congressional Democrats in the Obama administration, but a mere handful actually won. The White House gets a Watchie for the year's biggest political miscalculation, with the president's November 11th announcement postponing his decision on the proposed Keystone XL crude oil pipeline project's cross-border permit until after the 2012 elections. The move may have appeased the project's environmental critics, but it also handed congressional Republicans a jobs creation issue leading into an election year, and antagonized one of the country's closest allies. Moreover, Nebraska, where questions originally were raised over the pipelines crossing land above the state's primary drinking water source, now seems solidly behind the project. That apparently includes one of its senators, Democrat Ben Nelson, who originally expressed concerns before deciding not to run for re-election. He nevertheless receives an unbelievable patience Watchie for listening to a reporter ask this summer if the president should be held responsible for not living up to his 2008 campaign promise to bring civility back to Washington, before tartly responding, his first name is Barack, not Merlin. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency certainly was in the running this past year with several regulations, proposals, and inquiries. It earned a "You Asked For It" Watchie on December 8th, when its Denver regional office released a draft analysis from its Pavilion, Wyoming groundwater investigation for public comment and scientific peer review, which was so seriously flawed that it immediately got plenty of both. Congressional hearings provided bizarrely entertaining moments, particularly at the Natural Resources Committee in the GOP-controlled House. That was where U.S. Interior Secretary Ken Salazar introduced an apparently new expression, ear-banging, when he described repeated interruptions by committee member Louis Gohmert, a Republican from Texas, as the Secretary was trying to finish answering a question. Relations between other Natural Resources Committee Republicans and U.S. Department of the Interior officials sometimes grew downright frosty in 2011. Representative Jeff Landry of Louisiana and Michael R. Bromwich, who led the U.S. Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, Regulation, and Enforcement, sometimes seemed likelier to step outside for blows than for a beer. Bromwich nevertheless won a startlingly candid Watchie at his farewell press conference in late November, when he said that what he knew about the oil and gas business before becoming Beaumont director wouldn't have filled a thimble. He learned quickly, however, and left behind a dramatically changed federal offshore oil and gas regulatory regime after a relatively short time on the job. That's Watching Government for this week. In Washington, I'm Nick Snow for Oil and Gas Journal.